Okay, and this is officially the beginning of episode 217 of Keeping It Real. I'm your host, jackkadis. Before we get into things, I'd like to do a quick ad read. This episode is craving a sponsor, just like the next episode and the episode after that one. If you're interested in taking that spot, just get in contact with me. You could be the first ever sponsor of Keeping It Real. Moving forward, I like to break down how these episodes go before we get into them. They're all 1 hour long daily episodes. They come out every day and they're always 1 hour. We break them into 3 segments, 20 minutes each. First segment, I do my best to keep it real. Second segment, we address a real world situation, topic, something in the news or whatever tickles my particular fancy on that day, or yours. Leave a comment and I'm sure I'll cover it. And then segment 3, we try to end off on a good note, maybe come back to keeping it real, address what we said, see how maybe think differently about it and in the episode. So without further ado, Griffin's here and he's 22 years old. I'm here, I'm 22 years old. There is a lot to talk about. So to keep it real and begin, let's see. It's I think the most important thing to note is that it's 5:30 p.m. Last 3 or 4 episodes have been recorded and posted at around 4 a.m. So that's not only a little time difference, it's probably the single biggest time difference. It's 12-hour difference. It's actually like the biggest difference in time that you could possibly have. It's like 5 a.m. in the morning versus 5 p.m. in the afternoon. It's like you can't get any further away time-wise than that. But I feel good. I was pushed to get this done out of the way because big day tomorrow. I'm returning to what is my home, the place where I get everything done, and I guess I'm like discovering who I am out there in Raleigh. I'm taking the train home early tomorrow morning. I'm going home with a couple of goodies. I got a laptop for my birthday for school, and I'm really excited about it. I got some new running shoes, and I also got to spend a lot of time with my younger brother and my parents. So it was honestly the best. I've told them this. It's definitely been the best trip home I've ever had since I moved out, and I was really hoping it would be like that. I was gearing everything that I could control towards it being like this, but it has blown my expectations out of the water. I got to spend so much time with everyone, and just doing this episode early and getting the social media stuff for the day done, I am going to have even more time to spend, and I'm going to end on a really good note, I think. To update you on yesterday's situation, if you listen to all these episodes, you'll know that I was letting a friend spend the night at my place. I gave permission to a buddy, and I let him take my keys because he's in Raleigh right now getting his HVAC certification. So I said, go ahead and spend the night at my house. Don't buy a hotel, no problem. Well, when he gets there, my key does not open the door. So I'm like, are you kidding me? Because imagine that was me. And it was even worse that it wasn't me because it was a friend, like that stings even worse. So some back and forth calls. I couldn't get a hold of anyone then because it was 4 a.m. But I woke up today around 1 p.m. and I did some back and forth calls with a guy that I don't know what his position is. I don't know if he's an official landlord. I believe based on what he was saying, he has higher ups. And I feel like everyone in this world has higher ups. But I do want to say that he's a very, very good at his job. His name is Greg, and I'm glad that I have his number and no one else's because he always picks up. Now, granted, today, the only reason that I was able to get a hold of him is because he accidentally picked up in his butt. I called him, and you know how you butt dial? Well, he butt answered my phone call because all of a sudden, I just started hearing the sound of a TV, and he picked up. And it was like so nerve-wracking because like I can't hang up the phone. Like this guy's not picking up my calls. Like I got to, I got to get him to pick this phone call up because he's the only person that could possibly help me. I mean, at the very least, I'm going to have to get him into my apartment tomorrow for work. I've got work at 3 p.m. and my uniform's in there and all this and that and this and that. And he finally heard me screaming from his butt, and he was like, it's my day off, but he's still, said, let me call you right back. And then we had some back and forth phone calls where we ran through everything. I kind of got caught in a lie, I guess, or I didn't give him the full picture because I just wanted to tell him what I thought. You know how these things go. Like, it was important in this instance that I wasn't actually the one attempting to get into my apartment at the moment, because if it was, then things could have gone smoother. He at first said, okay, listen, I'm sending a person over in 10 minutes. So then I'm like, oh shit, I'm not even in Raleigh. I'm in Charlotte. He doesn't know that. So I text the guy that's in Raleigh, and he can't make it there in 10 minutes because he's doing his HVAC class. And so I make it, I get back on the phone with him, and I'm like, okay, listen, I'm not in Raleigh. It's a buddy. And, he's like, well, listen, we can't just give your key to someone that's not you. And I'm like, I totally get that. But, I'll be there tomorrow, and I'm going to need to get in. So, like, that's the new thing. Like, I got to figure out how I'm going to get in tomorrow. And tomorrow's Sunday. Today's Saturday. They're not doing the key drop-off exchange on the weekend. I didn't get any sort of email for a key exchange. My last email from them was in June 17th. I don't know if they have my new email, but that's got to get figured out. I never knew this was happening. I thought I was going to just get able to keep my key, but I should have, seen it coming. Anyway. He called back. I called back. He called back. I called back. Then he came up with the idea of like, call your roommates. I said, none of my roommates are in town. They won't be in town for weeks. And then, let me plug my computer in so it doesn't die mid-recording. And then he said, okay, let me work something out. And he called back and he was like, okay, how about your mailbox? Can I put the key in your mailbox? And give your mailbox key. And I'm like, actually, no, my mailbox key is inside my house. I don't keep it on my key ring. And at this point, I just feel like, damn, I feel so bad for this guy because I kind of feel in the air what's about to happen. And he sort of is putting his neck on the line for me. He went ahead and I don't know what he bypassed or, I assume he just sort of did this on his own merit out of trust for me and with me. I just got a text. He said, I'd call you back. I didn't hear from him for about an hour. And then I got a text saying that my key was on top of the light in front of my building. And I was like, thank you so much. And then I let my friend know, just this is good stuff, great stuff, awesome stuff. And I'm happy. I'm happy that I have a key now, and I'm thankful that it got resolved. So yeah, I feel like I feel like this is how we do. Like, this is how keeping it real works. It's like an actual therapy session. Like, I kind of have to start off just talking about what's happening, what's happened, and how I feel, and then like I kind of dive into like what I'm really feeling, or like maybe the more juicy, important stuff. And I think I'm really feeling kind of embarrassed, weirdly enough, because, or I just feel I a little bit of a regret. I feel like I didn't do something as well as I could have. I feel like I kind of got caught up in the ways, or I feel like I wasn't authentic to myself earlier in today when I posted something to Instagram Reels, and it was the first clip. So last night I was at a house party, and someone said, "Hey, my friend who I vaguely know, the name sounds familiar, wanted a cameo from you," and I think that's so awesome. That's like, I love to honor those things, like, and then go above and beyond, right? Like, for example, once my little brother texted me and said it was one of his friend's birthdays and he sees my reels, and I immediately took control and said, all right, I'm going to totally embarrass myself in his name today. So that was what I was going to do with this girl, but for whatever reason, it came time to make the reel, and it was going to be the first shot. And like, I don't know, I just feel like weird about how I did it. I feel like I didn't actually make a big fool out of myself. I was like supposed to intentionally make a fool out of myself. Like, I pictured, like, I had this great vision where maybe I had a rose in my mouth, and like I hold the rose out to the camera and I say, Madeline Zimmer, this is for you. I love you, or something just like crazy like that. But instead, I just opted to be like, Madeline Zimmer, this one's for you, while I'm shooting a basketball and I miss the basket. And I guess it's funny, but sometimes I feel like what's the like that phenomenon or like like the things that you look back and regret and you don't want to ever do again. It's like when you like the importance of like, I don't know how to explain this. There was once when I was really young, and I was at a summer camp, and I had some friends from where I lived at the camp with me, and we were all sitting in a cabin, and it was like rest time in the cabin, but when the horn blew, everyone could run from their cabin to go do activities and all, and there was a zip line, and we wanted to be first in line to the zip line, and I remember, everyone was like, all right, I established myself as the fastest one. So everyone, not even everyone, it was just my close friends, like 2 or 3 of the guys. They were like, yo, when you get there, save a spot in line for us. And I was like, okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, yeah, I got it. And I got wrapped up in the moment of being excited to run and being like, the adrenaline of being assigned the fastest person. I was just like super into it. And when I get to there, I secure my spot in the line, and then they come up behind and they're like, yo, it's good. And then I go like, no, you can't cut me in line anymore. And I remember like that situation kind of really messed me up. And obviously I still think about it because I so clearly chose my spot in line to ride the zip line over my friendship with these 2 people. Like, it's like when you put things into perspective, it's very much like obvious, what the right thing to do was, and you're so set on never making the mistake of like choosing an object over a person ever again. But here I felt like I chose like my like imagined persona online over, what was basically an interaction in a weird way. Like I haven't spoken to this girl, I haven't seen this girl, I just vaguely remember her name and maybe what her face looks like from high school and middle school. And here comes a request, that she would like, not, she probably watches me online and would love, like, not only did she watch me online, but she's voiced that she would love like some sort of like, involvement in what I do. And I'm supposed to take that and honor it to like my fullest extent. But instead I felt like I let it only be like a side part of today's video. Like I mention her and then it just goes to like, okay, and now I'm playing basketball with my brother and I lost, and like I'm focused on like how like my shirt's off, and the past 3 videos I've made, I've gotten a lot of views, so I'm trying to maintain that and keep all the same things like my shirt being off and maybe me exercising, like whatever gets the views, whatever, like I'm just trying to maintain. And it's like I lost track of what's really important. Like, why am I on social media? Why is this ultimately the hobby that I've chose to dive into? Because it explores a new age of human connection and being a social person. And that's why it's my hobby. That's why I'm so, dead set on committing to it every day. And I feel like this just happened, but I already can see how I made the wrong choice. And now I think we start to get into like, well, okay, like you've made plenty of wrong choices before, so why don't you just like, continue on, why you gotta dwell on it? I don't know. I'm just kind of saying what happened. Like I felt like I could have done a better job. And the good news is I have the chance to do a better job tomorrow. So, maybe I'll just run with it again. Same name. I can do the rose thing in the mouth. Maybe not say I love you. That might be a bit far. But the whole like reel can be centered around her. And I think that would be hilarious. Because like this is just so funny. Like this is the kind of thing that I would love to do, but you never get permission to do these things. But a friend of hers gave me permission and said she would, and so it's like that's awesome. Like that's so awesome. I remember once I did something like this without permission, and I included a video of a friend, kind of a new friend, in a slideshow on Instagram that I posted when I was like 15 or something. And I remember that really not going down well because the guy in question that I included was like, I don't want that up. Take that video of me down. I don't want, when I was just trying to like include them in this fun thing that I was doing and make what I was doing about them, And it was like so shocking to me when they were like, I don't want to be your friend anymore if you keep this up. And for whatever reason, that in that moment again, I made the wrong choice. And I decided to kind of like hold it over his head for a little bit longer than I should have before I take it down. I should have taken it down instantly and been like, dude, I'm so sorry. I should have checked with you. But instead I thought that I knew what was best for someone else. In that line for the zip line, I felt like the best thing was for me to say, nah, bro, get in the back of the line. I can't have you skip in front of all these older kids. Or the best thing for me to do today was yeah, you can be a part of my, I'll make you a part of my Instagram video, but you're just going to be the side part of my Instagram video because you don't know what Instagram's really about. Nah. I'm here to make a fool out of myself. I'm here to be, laughed at and laughed with. And it's important that I keep these moments in mind as I, continue to, gain followers and views and whatever's going on, meet all these new people that I'm about to meet. I'm about to go into 17 credit hours in community college. I'm about to meet so many people of so many ages. I'm about to have 2 new random roommates, this is the last thing that I'm going to squeeze into this segment before we do our second ad read and start our second segment. I have 3.5 minutes before that happens, and I want to squeeze this in. I got another text from my soon-to-be roommate that I haven't met. First text, and I feel like maybe I could read this. I'll read all these texts out to you so you can get as much context as possible. I want to be as thorough as oh, maybe that helped. Yo, Griffin, maybe you can hear me better now. Wait. No, now you probably can't hear me at all. Hold on, I want to make sure Griffin can hear me because my voice, I'm kind of realizing what was happening. Test. Oh. Hello? Can you hear me? Yo, Griffin, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, way better.
Okay, guess what was happening? My phone, my camera, my MacBook decided that it wanted to use my iPhone as the microphone, and my phone's in my pocket.
While you're underwater. Yeah, I had to mute and turn you down just for a voiceover. I had to do that just for the next 5 minutes probably.
Okay, no worries. I was stoked. I just figured that out. Okay, so back to what I was saying. I was locked in. Here's the text chain with him, Kalen. He says he found all of our phone numbers. Likely got in touch with Greg, I'd imagine, or somebody. I don't know if it was Greg or who. It probably wasn't Greg. I don't know how he found this place. I'm excited to ask, but he somehow got all 3 of our phone numbers. And now I know one person that's living with me because he lived with me last year. He's a good friend. But the other person is just a random number just like his. And he creates this group chat, and I wake up to this text. It's at 1:42 p.m. back on July 15th. And he says, hey, I don't want to say his name. I am your guys' roommate at NC State. I was just wondering if any of you had already had plans on bringing a couch. If not, I have a couch and a chair that I could bring. I will send pictures of them. If y'all don't like them, then I won't bring them. You just got to let me know. And then it's a picture of a couch. And he says, they've been in my garage. Just need to clean them up and we'll be good. And no one was responding, and I got the vibe that no one was going to respond. And I was kind of excited. So I said, hey, Kalen, I'm Jack. Oh, oops, whatever. I say bring the couch. And he says, yes, sir, will do. Nothing else is sent in that group chat. Nothing at all. And that's kind of in a weird way, that's kind of how I like it. I know as guys, we have this stereotype where we just don't, we communicate with other dudes telepathically, I guess, or maybe even not at all. For example, these are 2 people that I have never met, and we're not in touch whatsoever. And I personally like it that way, in a weird sense. As I said earlier, people are really important to me and all that, but I'd rather get to that part when I'm living with them and I meet them in person and shake their hands. But I have to remember that sometimes making the right decision is hard and takes active thinking. So when I got this text, let's see, hold on. When I got this text on yesterday, it was what? Yesterday? Wait, How is this possible that this was sent to me yesterday? This can't be right. Wait, how can it be possible that the timestamp says yesterday? No, there's no way, right? All right, I guess that's accurate. I mean, that's insane. Yesterday, 30 minutes past midnight, he says, "Hey, Jack, it's blank, your roommate. I was just wondering if you had talked to the other two guys or if you knew them." So this is kind of a weird text to get because immediately I want to respond and be at his service in a way, right? But I feel like, and I don't want to assume things, but I just feel like maybe he's like overthinking everything just a little, because I don't know why. It's a weird hour to send this text, first off. But who am I to talk? I'm always up at that time anyway. And then it's also, like I would never ask. I would never do this if I was him. Because like we haven't met. Like I don't know him. And it kind of it made me not want to respond. So this message still continues to sit unresponded to. But I'm telling people about it throughout my day and stuff, yesterday and today, and people are like, "Bro, what's the problem? Just respond to him." Now, I don't know. Maybe I didn't tell these people exactly. Like, okay, we're over. We'll get back to this in the third segment. Today, first and foremost, if you're interested in sponsoring the next episode of Keeping It Real, get in touch with me because we'd love to have you. You could be the first ever sponsor this show has ever had. Moving forward into our second segment of the episode, we're going to be talking about the Epstein list. Now, supposedly there's a list. Supposedly there's files, and supposedly there's more information that is let out, and this thing keeps on hitting the news cycle over and over again. And if you're unfamiliar, I'll recount to you what has happened. We have a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Epstein, a very wealthy man with lots of connections. Now, lots of people are very wealthy with lots of connections. And Jeffrey in particular fell under charges of sex trafficking and, underage women and, bad, grooming, bad stuff. And this is sort of, this raises the question of, what's sort of okay throughout the times, because I never think that this was something that he hid explicitly. It was never, a secret. It was more like out in the open with the right group of people, if that makes sense. So what you have is this gentleman on court and on trial, and he, there's a precedent being set in the courtroom where all of a sudden, everyone has to understand that what this man was doing was not okay. There's a lot of blurry lines that he was taking advantage of, societal, accepting, as human beings, what we see as okay and what we see as, within the law and like all that, it changes over generations. And I think this gentleman was an older gentleman, and he was officially being caught up with the newer generation of like, wait, hold on, man. We know what's going on over there with you, and it's time to set a precedent to let, our generation and future generations know that this will not hold up in society's eyes. And in a court of law, you'll be sentenced to life. So that's what Jeffrey Epstein is facing. He was the main man, the owner of the property, the ringleader. They got him, right? But then you have all these people that he's connected to, high value names, past presidents, extremely high level celebrities. Everybody's coming in and out of this island, and it's friends with him, and it's not clear how everyone partakes in the things that he does and the way that he does them and all, but it can be assumed, if they're friends with him, by association, if your friend is a meth dealer, then it's like, well, you probably know a thing or two about meth. And with a big precedent like this being set in a courtroom, there's a big it's a big deal. A lot's going on, and it's a big moment in the changing of generations. Honestly, it's like a big. That's the way that I see stories like this. Is like the times are changing, and what's okay and what's not okay is changing, and large examples are being set in the process of that. So what you have is the unfortunate happenings of while being held in prison, he killed himself. Now, a lot of people believe that he didn't really kill himself. And I can understand the conspiracy because in this day and age, there's cameras on everything and there's logs of everything. So when it just so happens that there's no camera on, a certain area and like the guard wasn't happening to be watching, that you run rampant with conspiracies. But I don't personally adhere with any of that nonsense. I think while we can't know what truly happened because there was no recording and no witness, and I want to say I truly do believe that there was no recording and no witness. I don't think that secrets can be kept like that, and I think it takes a very socially intelligent background to reach that conclusion that listen, you got to understand, with this situation that you're describing of like, this is how it actually happened, it's being kept under wraps, that would involve mass secret keeping. And even if it was just one person that saw what actually happened, that's still an incredible burden and a huge secret that I just don't think human beings have really the capability to, maybe one person does, but once two people know, it is no longer a secret, and it's like wildfire. Word spreads like wildfire, especially in this day and age with phone and texts. So, for what it's worth, I'm a big believer that what was reported happening actually happened. I believe he hung himself, and, if he was on suicide watch, this shouldn't have happened, but, it makes sense that it did. If he was on suicide watch, then it doesn't sound that crazy that he committed suicide. I mean, people have to understand that it's, for a man like him, it's deeply, deeply shameful, and it's deeply, deeply, it changes everything for a man of his stature who is very wealthy, very connected, and has very much lots of power to be immediately killed almost by the system, stripped of all his freedoms and put in a place that he has absolutely no power. I mean, I don't think it's crazy at all to kill yourself. I think that those are, if not like, those are like textbook kill yourself circumstances. So you have, when that sort of thing happens, you have everyone, with a story like this where high-class names are involved, you have to understand what saying a name in a story does to the potential of it being spread. And the reason that I sit here and think, okay, it's our second segment, and it's time for me to, like what can I talk about in this episode and get down and dirty with? Like, what can I say? What's going on? Well, it's it just pops into my mind. The Epstein files. It's almost like a duh. Like, yeah, I mean, that's like a real world event. I know about it. I'm going to talk about it. And I only know about it because of all these celebrities and, it played a big part in presidential races, and it's still going on, and people are discussing, it's everyone has these strong opinions, and there's humor to come out of it. But I think from my perspective, what it really represents is a changing of the times. It represents power being shifted from one generation to the next. It represents a shift in all things, in the way things happen, in the way things move. And I believe that there is, a lesson to be learned from what's happened here, because there's a lot of people doing things that are ethically in a gray area, but still covered by our law. There's a lot of people that are totally okay with, doing a little bit of this, doing a little bit of that, because everyone around them is also okay with it. But it's important to be individual in your perception of right or wrong, because one day it can truly catch up to you. It's like this, the narrative fits with Mr. Epstein committing suicide, because I believe that someone that would end up committing suicide would be someone that truly didn't believe that something like this could ever happen to him. There are people that do wrong, and they kind of understand that they're doing wrong, and they go to prison and they just kind of are okay being in prison. It's like a calculated. They see that could be something that happens to them, and it's like it's a risk that they take. But I seriously, with a case like this and these younger girls, like 14, 15-year-old girls, being taken advantage of in a way that never should be ever happening. It's almost like for these people, our law in this country of 18 years, you have to be 18 years to give consent, was like a suggestion, sort of like jaywalking. Laws are laws, and they're meant to be taken, but it's like they thought that, with enough money and enough power and enough, it's not even like they thought, it's like they didn't think. It's like, well, it's like they just sort of, they let, their desires and interests, it's not even honestly, like, I'm not even, like, there's no way for me to say, like, oh, these people are evil. Like, I can't say that. Like, you have to understand that this man killed himself. Like, it must have been such a shock enough to kill himself. Like, I don't think he saw this coming at all. I don't think he believed he could ever end up. The way that he handled himself in testimony, it screams like he truly did not ever think that this could happen to him. And it's like he never even considered it. And I feel that is just so revealing of how things were conducted, in private, or not even in private, just in that certain social circle bubble. I've been a part of very many different social circles, and I understand how, like, some things are okay with some people that aren't with other people. And by large margins too, you don't realize how your world could expand so much by spending time with a different group of people. It's not what's right or what's wrong. It's what's right or what's wrong to you. You have the true responsibility of what, and Jeffrey Epstein is extremely, intelligent, and I think, who knows, who he got this from, or what older person he learned it was okay to do this from. I don't believe that he, like, completely on his own invented that sort of thing. But when you're put on trial for this, you can't say, well, Your Honor, I saw my dad do this with younger women. Or, Your Honor, those in power, that were in the generation above me that, transferred down their wisdom and I learned from, they did this with younger women. And I always just thought, you can't say that sort of thing, because when you're, once you're already on trial, everything's locked down. You do what he did. You just over and over again, when the hard questions come, you say, I plead the fifth. You don't speak. You let your lawyers handle it. And it's sad, and I think a lot of times it opens the door and kind of flames the fire of all these conspiracy theories, like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, or no, I think he did kill himself. I think you people have to understand that, you know, as we advance in the recording of and the cameras and the digital age, what comes out in the news and what they say happened, it becomes more and more accurate. More and more accurate. Back in the day, people really had control over the news, and it would be a big deal what was published in the newspaper because it would affect people's money and stock holdings. But today, there's so many eyes on everything before it ever goes out that while these things still happen, it's a lot more, understood that certain publications, lean this way or lean this way. And there are certain publications that do their best to stay in the middle. We're getting to a place in society where news is not even, something that is even necessary anymore. There's no more play. It's like an information middleman, and we're all about, as a society, cutting out middlemen. We're all about it. And I think as time goes on, there's not going to be there won't be news. Like the president of the United States has a Twitter account. Every connection you've ever made, you're just one phone call away from. There's no, news will just simmer back down to what is simply information. And if there will be certain circumstances where certain pieces of information do need to be blasted over large publics, but that will happen. The distributors for those blastings will look very different than like CNN or NBC, because these are CNN and NBC at the end of the day are becoming media companies. They're no longer like, at the end of the day, like people used to pay for the newspaper, but now we don't pay for our news. We are the product of the news. With media, it's insane because your audience is the product. You watching ads is like these NBC and CNN, they sell advertisements and they sell screen time and they work in deals. And it's like this crazy shift in how it all works and how it's all happening. And I think the Epstein files and Jeffrey Epstein is a fantastic example of the change and how it's happening and what, you can look out for over the next couple decades, the way things happen and the way, large scale, high profile events, go down. It's always down to a science, right? But the science is always changing just like us. So with 2 minutes left, I feel like I already gave a pretty good summary, but let's turn the camera so you can see me a bit better. But I just, that's the way I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I feel about it. And, yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Not feel pretty good, but I feel pretty good about my stance.
You feel good about the Epstein files?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about taking advantage of younger women. Griffin, that's kind of scared me. I did not know you were there. How's your editing going? What do you think about my stance on Jeffrey Epstein? Is it bleeding into your ears as you're trying to work?
No, it's like, I think you had so you think he killed himself?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a believable narrative.
I think it's I think it's the true.
I think he definitely could have killed himself, but I also think he could have been. It could have been something else.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's
this or that.
I see what you're saying, honestly, because it's like at the end of the day there isn't any recording of it.
Yeah.
But it was reported as suicide. And so at the end of the day, like I put my full faith in like the reporting.
Well, I don't know about full faith.
Well, how could it be wrong? How could it be wrong? I don't think that like these things are reported false anymore,
I think I don't know. Dude, they've lied before. They've lied many times.
Yeah, everyone lies all the time. I just don't think this is like a high-profile what happened moment where like all eyes seem to be on this one prison cell. And the crowd of people in my eyes that is quick to say like, oh, just because they said it was suicide doesn't mean it was suicide, are the ones that are taking the skepticism and it's not just skepticism. It's honestly a learned behavior from an older generation, those older than them and wiser than them. Because for our parents, back when they were our age, this high profile thing, could genuinely be falsely reported. Like O.J. Simpson was free to go. And the way that our laws work in this country, once that gavel banged the desk in that courtroom, he was exempt. He could not be put back on trial ever. You get one shot to convict someone or something like that. And if you can't do it, they walk free for the rest of their life. And for whatever, however, I don't know. I mean, my mind is blown. He killed his wife violently, stabbed her multiple times, and he did not go to jail. So I don't blame people. I don't blame the people that are my age that are saying, oh, Jeffrey Epstein, I don't believe it. I don't know what happened. He could have killed himself. I don't know. I just know I'm super skeptical of the main headline. I don't know. I don't blame them. I just think that they are, stuck in an era where we didn't all have like a hyper information highway in our pocket. Like I don't think with the phone, I don't think it's possible to conceal something like this. I mean, you just can't. I mean, people can talk to anyone they want, anytime they want, always. So that's why I'm quick to be like, yeah, if it's reported that he killed himself, I feel like there's different kinds of killing yourself. Like, who knows what his final moments were like? Who knows if he regretted it right when he kicked the chair or whatever he had? Who knows? Who knows? But I think it was just him in that cell. Whatever happened, it was only him. And with that, we have gone 2 minutes over again. But it's okay. This is our third and final ad read of the episode. And if you're interested in sponsoring this show, I would love you to sponsor it. Get in touch with me. We can work something out. And don't forget, you could be the first ever sponsor of Keeping It Real ever. Moving into our third segment, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm pretty talked out. I'm hoping Griffin's going to save me and we can have a cool conversation. I don't think I've gone back and forth with him for a while. It's been like 2 days. I want to like guilt him into a conversation, right? So if he can hear me, I'm going to say like last time we got deep, it was kind of like when you're hanging out with your drunk friend, and he's like, cause I think Griffin had probably done a lot of like thinking powder and is like,
I was drunk.
Oh, okay, good. Cause it's like, he was saying a lot of those really nice things to hear that just makes you smile a whole bunch.
Oh, I was? I thought I was being mean.
Oh, you were being mean?
I thought I was. I'm happy to hear you say that, but I was like, oh,
well,
no.
What were we talking? What were we talking about? I wonder.
I don't know, but that's the episode my mom saw, and I'm really happy she did see that because she was like, Jack really loves you. He's a really good friend, and like.
Okay, good.
I was like, yeah. I was like, he is. I was like, that's like the episode that I'd want her to watch, and she watched it. So. I'll be ready to talk in 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll try and hold them off for 5 minutes. Damn, bro, I'm talked out. I just went on a damn streak. I think it's a difference in time. Like I said, this is a 12-hour difference. Yesterday's episode was recorded and posted at 5 a.m. And if I go back and watch it, I feel like it's probably a lot loopy, a lot loopier. Like, I feel like there's probably lots of pauses. I remember I got up at one point for like a 5-minute break to let my dog out and fill up my water. And that, that's just poor Keeping It Real etiquette. And, at those hours, I'm very susceptible to like sweating in my chair and like I just, yawning, lots of yawning, and I just kind of want to get to bed, and it's like yada 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 yada. You know what I'm saying? But with I don't know, with this, I feel like I'm giving more quality, and it's also like, because it's noticeably higher in quality, I feel like more inclined to give myself a break and be like, okay, relax. So instead, I'm just telling you that like I feel like I've talked a lot, and that's just, it's okay to feel that way, but this really should be a standard that I set. Like all episodes should be very coherent. I think I had a great introduction. I think I launched into a great, stress and worry of mine that was very subconscious and something that like I wouldn't actually bother anyone, personally in my life with. But that's what keeping it real is for, especially the first segment. And then I think I chose a fantastic topic. I can see it now. The title and the thumbnail, Jeffrey Epstein, are you kidding me? No brainer. I was proud of my topic yesterday, even though it was a couple days late, the tsunami in Hawaii. But I'm much, much, much more proud of Jeffrey Epstein. I'm like super, super stoked on that because it's something that I am actually very well versed in, as it's been happening over the course of years. I've seen very many people give their take on it, and I think like I really like the way that I weigh in on it. And I didn't let Griffin, I kind of just like overshadowed. Like he was like, Griffin, I asked him what he thought, and I just went right back to saying what I thought, how I thought I was right. And that's how you know that I'm really invested in my opinion. And that's what the second segment is for. I was on a run with my younger cousin, George, and he's all about like, dude, you can't just be titling your videos whatever and then just not doing anything in them. Same with Griffin. And that's why I'm trying to make this transition and take these clips from this segment of the episode, because as scary as it is to take hard stances on things and post it publicly, and as easy and as comfortable as it is to just like melt on camera and have your excuse being like, oh, well, I could be trying harder, and the reason it's not performing well is because I'm not trying. You have to try. As scary as it is, you got to try. And in this case, the next step to trying is, getting really heated about like, this is not a conspiracy. Like you have to understand, you have to be intelligent about this. Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. And it brings a bunch of things in together. Like it brings my learned truth of mentioning things like this in your thumbnail title is good for the algorithm. It brings in a new kind of people, more potential for someone to see your face and your voice and say, I came here for Jeffrey Epstein, but I'm going to stay for Kadis. And it really, it reinforces in my mind sort of like a self-worth thing. Like before, I think before, you can zoom all the way back and say, and be sort of, you can be observant of how there was a time when I was like, didn't really even like to have my face on the camera. There was a time where I was just like dipping my feet back in social media after having tried my best to sort of, not scroll and not even consume. I decide, what if I create, right? What if I start creating? And it evolves and evolves and evolves. And then you realize like, how can I push this further? How can I push this further? And I think a big part of pushing it further is growing into the skin of somebody that is just extremely unapologetic and extremely themselves. Because, it's at the start, you focus a lot on being yourself. And then I think like going forward, I'm starting to believe that a part of being myself is not only being myself, but being very loud at being myself. Like it's not just enough to be myself, and try and figure that out. I have to do it so everybody can see, and I have to do it, not unapologetically or like in a way that interrupts, but a way that I can look back and say like a way that reinforces, the truth that I matter in my own head. Because that's what I think I've always, ever since puberty, ever since like I started to grow hair places and realize how skinny I was. My mom says I was never that skinny, but I felt like I was really skinny, and that's just the way I felt. Ever since those times, like the 6th, 7th grade and like all that stuff, I just have never been able to shake feeling like I just kind of like sucked, and I felt like it was like being quiet was a really important, tool. And it was really awesome to just kind of like sink into the background of settings. And I really, that's just not like, how is that ever going to get me anywhere? How is that ever going to get anyone anywhere? I mean, imagine all the amazing people you'd meet if not only you were super loud and obnoxious and always, saying exactly what came to your mind, but everyone always did that. Like I kind of thought to myself the other day when I was at this house party, I thought like, man, I kind of feel like I'm trying to get views in real life. Like I was very much channeling like this energy that I had seen from guys like Theo Vaughn and stuff online, viral stuff where like they kind of just rip, it seems like whatever's on their mind they just say. So I'm trying my best to just kind of like spew out whatever I got up in my head out and like, maybe grab attention. Just, bring people in at the very least, be someone that can be laughed at. And it honestly felt like it was working really well. And I felt like I was like someone that fostered connection and conversation. And if, I wasn't even worried if I got looked at funny, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And then I imagine, what if everybody, adopted that mindset? And then there's the question of like, are you supposed to act how you think everyone should act? Because I feel like it's maybe like a religious thing, like, because people of God are very much like, most of them will never try and suggest that you follow what they follow, the teaching of Jesus Christ, but they do it with the intention of setting an example. And it's very much something that like spreads, and it's maybe not even intention is the wrong word, but it's just a mindset and a lifestyle that spreads. And when I think of how I act and who I am, do I see, me as like someone that lives and breathes a certain way that like could spread? I don't know. And would I want it to?
Yes, you can. I think, well, wait, what did you just say?
A lot. I said a lot.
Do you think, do you see yourself, do I see myself doing what? Being someone that, like, inspires people?
Well, when I go to a party, I really like feeling like the man,
Yeah.
It's like important to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you see yourself being that?
Yes.
I think if you, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if you like, I know people that are like, bro, where does this confidence come from? I'm like, it's like, how do like they already believe that, even though they haven't even like. I've always had it in my head like, if I have to feel like that, I have to do all of these things, and then I will feel like the man. And then I realized I'm like, probably once I get probably once I do that, like I still won't feel that way. Like you have to like kind of start acting that way right now, and then you become that person.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Khalil says you have a way with words.
Khalil, I could eat you right up. I could just gobble you right up, Khalil.
I can just gobble you right up.
Let me pinch those cheeks. I could just eat you right up, Khalil. Oh, Khalil, I could just eat you right up.
He says, "Whoa, dude."
Whoa, dude. Come on, man. We would interlock quite nice.
He's 13.
All right, I'm kind of freaking out, dude. I it's been like 4 or 5 days since I made 24 shorts.
Holy moly. Oh, I forgot to give you my birthday present. Okay, well, I have to
Oh, but have you seen Instagram? I've been clipping. I've been too lazy to add the.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love
good,
them.
good. I really need to add.
So good. I'm like, okay, this looks like it will get like this looks like something that would be on my feed. Like I'd be scrolling. I'm like,
it's not complete
dude,
yet.
I'm gonna send you this guy that reminds me so much of you, or like he's fucking like.
What's his name?
He's fucking crazy. I don't know his name, but I'll send it. But just his view, you gotta totally ignore his viewpoints. He says some of the craziest fucking shit.
Don't we all?
And like, you just gotta ignore but the way he says it, the way he talks, like he sits there in a suit, and I saw him, and I'm like, this is like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he's sitting there in a suit and he's talking to the camera, but he's like talking, like, it's the way he talks and the way he looks at the camera. Like, he just like, I don't know. I gotta send it to. There's been so many times that I want to send you like his stuff, but I'm just like, dude, if I send this to Jack, he's gonna think I'm like some like he's like I don't even know how to describe like his viewpoints. Like, I want to say he's like red pill, but then like he like critiques all the red pill people. I don't even know.
You got to send him to me. I've
I
never found
do.
someone that I thought this guy resembles Griffin. I never found somebody.
I don't think you ever will, Jack.
That's what I'm starting to believe, but I'm still searching.
Yeah, maybe one day. How much is left how much is
A
left?
sad 4 minutes, man. The last 4 minutes of episode 217 ever in history.
It is a sad moment. Khalil says I'm a minority, dude. In the world, I'm talking about worldwide. You think there's more white people or black people, or do you think it's like right in the middle of like brown?
I have no clue. I have no clue.
Well, India pretty much is half of the world's population right there.
I think there's probably
I don't really think it matters. Eventually, we're all gonna be brown. In like 200 years, everyone's gonna be all mixed up.
yeah, that's 100% true. That's the truth. We're all going to be mixed. Everyone's going to have hazel eyes. We won't have pinky toes. And we're all going to be around 5'8", 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody.
yeah.
Except for like, dude,
So,
it's going to really reveal the people that are like, the ones that like have like weird ass families that are like, you must stick within your pale white race, pure blood. Like those people are going to start to stick out like a sore thumb.
yeah, are they still gonna hold the same values when everybody like they're like, are you sure you're superior, bro?
World's going to look a lot different,
'Cause-
man. It's going to be like 30,000 years from now.
yeah, it's gonna be. No way, no way. America's still here in
No,
30,000 years.
no. I think by that time we will be like uploaded to the cloud, and
Yeah, something like
I don't
that.
know how. I wonder if we'll be like. I wonder like because we are very documented, you and I. That's kind of like one of my
Oh yeah,
secret. That's like one of my secret favorite parts about this whole hobby is that I'm hyper
absolutely,
documenting myself. So if ever there comes a
absolutely.
time where people can like bring people back based on what they left on the internet, then I've got a good chance of being.
Bro, our conscious could be totally uploaded to, you know, like you could just say, like you just how like they take AI and like make your voice the same. There could be an AI Griffin, an AI Jack that speaks and thinks exactly like us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And with the same memories,
Same memories, same everything.
but we will be dead.
But we will be dead.
Rip.
I'm gonna be dead like Slay. Like I'm gonna die and I'm gonna like serve.
Yeah, you're gonna be a dead queen.
Exactly. Exactly. Dude, I gotta start.
Don't worry,
I gotta start flagging certain moments for like. I gotta have like a little red paddle that I show the camera so I can skip to the in editing and know that I need to clip this part because having what I say like I'm gonna die like a queen, slay, serve like that needs to be clipped.
That needs to be, dude. I'm in the same boat. I need to do red paddle's a really good idea. Like, damn, that's because I've been trying to figure out like, you can. I don't know, or maybe I gotta learn how to clip on YouTube, or maybe I could just start saying chat clip that.
I think red paddle. Because if you were no. For me, what I could do is I could pull the transcript if I remember what I was saying. But like to ensure that like I can just move on, all I have to do is raise red paddle and then I can find it.
Yeah, yeah, that's like
And
that's way better because then you
what you
don't have
could
to
do,
stop what you're doing
yeah,
and be like
because
34.40 seconds. I said like
it wouldn't actually
you don't have
be like it wouldn't actually to make it even easier. You could have a keyword that you say, when you raise the paddle, like red paddle. When you raise the paddle, you could just say the word red paddle, and then when you have because YouTube transcripts, does it do that for VODs, like for full live streams?
I didn't know that.
Does it transcript?
Maybe.
Because you can go to the description, click show transcript, then you can toggle timestamp, copy paste the whole thing into ChatGPT, and then say at what timestamp did I say this?
Oh, you're genius.
Give me all the red paddle
Yeah.
timestamps, and then you wouldn't even have to search.
Damn, that's tough. That's genius.
I was thinking the
That's
other
what I'm
day.
saying. Like, dude, the more you I totally believe in because dude, the videos, the reels that I saw that you did clip, I was a big fan of those. I was like, oh yes.